I am here with Mr. Reinshagen, director of Ermewa. Bonjour, Monsieur Reinshagen.
Добрий день, Mr. Saming.
I see that the motto of your company is safety is everyone's business. Why is railway safety so important for your company?
Please allow me to quote from the European Railway Safety Culture Declaration that has been issued by the European Union Agency for Railways. And it says, safety is a main driver for efficiency and reliability of railway services. And this actually expresses perfectly the idea that we have in promoting and prioritizing safety in our company, because it's not only the safety of people, the safety of the cargo and of the assets, it's as well the following of procedures, the following of rules, and this exactly automatically increases performance and efficiency of the company. And it brings as well cost control, it brings as well many other items. So safety is really a perfect example of our vision, which is around sustainable growth. Because if we do rail car rental, then the long-term approach is extremely important, and we make money and we can do a profitable business if we have a long-term approach. And so safety is a key feature for that and brings together efficiency, performance, and this long-term growth vision that we have.
Railway plays a significant role in transport of chemicals. Obviously there are important restrictions and national legislation regulations, such as RID and others. For example, it's very difficult now to transport single wagons with dangerous goods in Italy after the accident in Via Reggio in 2009. I know that you have introduced a special wagon for transport of chlorine in Munich. Can you tell us more about that wagon?
Yeah, we have developed a specific chlorine rail car, and that we have shown it on the Transport and Logistics show in Munich last June. This rail car has been developed by analyzing with mathematical tools recent accidents and actually identify if additional safety features bring additional safety, and thus could prevent accidents or at least reduce the consequences of such an accident. We have developed a system, brake monitoring system with Knorrbremse, which will allow us to permanently monitor the brake performance on the rail car and either stop the train and thus stop the danger of a brake system not working, or exchange a part that then will prevent an accident in the future. This system will allow the chemical industry to operate a safe and efficient supply chain, so that they can actually continue with the production of those very important materials for the industry. That's the objective of this rail car.
Mm-hmm. And do you plan some other development in transport of chemicals?
And we are working on top of chlorine. We are as well working on ammoniac rail cars in this type, and maybe other dangerous goods cargo with the same philosophy on the rail car development in mind.
Ermewa is investing in the smart train technology, digital technology. How did you develop this technology?
This technology is actually firstly the Smart Wagon, with equipment, telematics equipment on the wagon, and this Smart Wagon can then, at the demand of the customers, the railway companies and the freight forwarders, become a smart train by combining the different wagons and connecting them to the locomotive. Today this can be done by radio technology, and tomorrow this might be done by digital automatic coupling directly from the wagon to the locomotive by data exchange and electricity lines.
And are you successful in implementing this technology across Europe?
We have actually started in equipping our fleet. At the end of this year we will have equipped 7,000 wagons, and we expect the fleet to be equipped in the coming 2 or 3 years. But digitalization is not only equipment of the wagon, it's as well data exchange between the different actors in the railways. For example, data exchange on maintenance. And here the railway company, the keeper, the rental company and the workshop actually exchange data on a specific data exchange mode. It's called VPI08, and combined with other digital and automatic automatic features like the automatic way bill and automatic damage report. This will actually increase will help to improve significantly the maintenance of rail cars. And in terms of safety, such data exchange between the different actors will allow to go for the return of experience. This means that you can collect data on the different parts that might break in a rail car, and you can share this in the industry, and like this actually replace a part before it really breaks down and share this experience between the different actors. And this will significantly increase the safety performance of railway.
Can you tell us more about the concept of return of experience?
Return of experience is a concept that is very familiar in the aerospace industry and especially in airlines, and it means that if there's a problem that arises that could have a safety impact, you look for the pattern behind by analyzing data, and if you find a pattern and a problem, you share it with all the industry. So this means the sharing of the return of experience, the REX, REX sharing, and we have actually launched together with GITX, with the Technical University of Berlin and the Engineering University Centrale Lyon in France, we have launched a benchmark between the aerospace industry and the freight rail industry to learn from their experience in sharing the return of experience. And we would like to introduce this into rail freight and actually start really a REX experience in the rail freight to make sure that an event, a safety event at one partner in the industry will be shared with the others, and like this future events can be prevented.
In February 2019, you've organized a successful conference in Prague entitled Railway Infrastructure in Central and Eastern Europe, where many important top managers from the rail market came or attended. And the conference has also been organized under the auspices of the President of the Republic, Mr. Miloš Zeman. We got an impression from the conference that, in fact, the railway infrastructure in Eastern Europe is in a rather very poor shape, which is something which obviously has a negative impact on customers and on the rail freight business in general. What do you think about that?
The Eastern European railway infrastructure is largely still an 80-ton infrastructure. This means that a rail car cannot be with a weight of more than 80 tons. In Western Europe, a network of 90 tons has been developed in the last years, and that means a rail car can have 90 tons of full weight on the tracks. And this investment, of course, is necessary in Eastern Europe, but of course it takes time and it's very costly. And in Western Europe as well, infrastructure investment into modernizing and upgrading the rail tracks and the rail infrastructure have been launched in many countries. And again, this is a very long-term process, and it takes a certain time. But you cannot say Eastern Europe, Western Europe, because, for example, in Western Europe, governments, especially, for example, in France and Germany, very much preferred road network investments compared to rail network investments. And the result of it is that, for example, many industrial companies don't have access to the railways anymore because the last mile has disappeared, which in Eastern Europe is still quite widely available. So there's actually an advantage in this area. But for example, we can see in Austria and Switzerland, where the governments continued to invest in the 60s, 70s, 80s, when the others stopped and invested more in road. Austria and Switzerland continued to invest into rail infrastructure, and they are now at a level of model shift. That means the share between rail and the other modes of transport. They are at a share of 30%, where France is at 10 and Germany is at 18. So there's still the investment into infrastructure is key for safety, and the most important thing is actually to make everyone aware that these very costly investments are really key for the future.
I believe these questions are very important. Are you perhaps preparing another conference in near future for Prague?
Ermewa has actually launched a conference series. We have made 2 conferences in France. We have done a conference in Germany and this one in Prague, in Eastern Europe. And we want to continue with this series of conferences, and very, very surely will make another conference in Eastern Europe on the subject that we have to decide upon. The first conference was on human factor in safety. The second conference was on circular economy and the railway, and the third conference was on logistics optimization. So there is still quite a lot of subjects that we can cover.
What are the major risks on the railway in Eastern Europe?
There's of course a risk linked to poor infrastructure in Eastern Europe, and but maybe one of the things that is really very important is the awareness that safety and economic performance are not contradictory, but in fact are extremely linked. And if you follow safety, that means you increase your economic performance and not the other way around. That's maybe a really, really important point. And the European Railway Safety Culture Declaration from the European Union Safety Railway Agency is really the way to follow. In this declaration, there's the culture that comes with safety, and this is maybe the key for the future development.
Do you think that Ermewa, as a European leader in railway safety, can successfully improve the situation?
Ermewa actually, as a partner in the industry, has launched together with other partners several initiatives. We have the Aero Railway Benchmark that we've talked before. We have the digital automatic coupling. We have the VPI 08, which is the data exchange. And these initiatives will significantly improve safety in the industry. What is really important is that we share with all the partners in the industry the fact that pursuing safety is increasing economic performance, and as well the basis for model shift, and model shift is required for to reach the climate target that the European Union and the different states in Europe have identified. Without model shift, we cannot reach those climate targets, and this is the future of our kids and of our countries. And safety is key to this model shift. So the interesting thing is to link those 3 points, which is safety, economic performance, and environmental protection, and model shift that comes with it. Railway transportation by far is the least is the transportation mode that is the least negative for the environment, compared, for example, to road transportation. 9 it's 9 times less CO2. So, but model shift cannot come without safety. So everything is linked, and pursuing safety is one of the best ways of as well protecting the environment.
My last question, if I asked you to compare the railway safety in Central, Eastern and Western Europe, what would it be?
I would not really compare the safety in the different regions. I would say that the lack of investment into infrastructure is a problem everywhere, maybe more or less important. The European safety rules for railway are applicable everywhere in the same way. So the framework and the legislation is in fact exactly the same. What might be important is that some non-EU countries are actually producing and is respecting those European Union rules better than they do maybe today. That could be an important point, and maybe restructuring of the railway companies. Recent restructuring might have as well had a negative impact. That could be possible. But I would say that the most important thing is actually that this safety culture is introduced into the operations of railways all over Europe, and the promotion of a safety culture and a European standards and European way of doing things all together is, I think, the key to the future. And in this respect, the 4th railway package from the European Union is exactly the way forward.
Thank you for your answers, Mr. Reinshagen. I thank you for your time, and we will be looking forward to meet you, your company, and the products of your company in Prague in the Czech Republic.
Thank you very much, Mr. Samek.